Miami Dolphins have wrapped up their first preseason game, a 24-24 tie against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. And the starters got some action in this one, a bit uncharacteristic for Miami, though a bunch of teams, including now the Dolphins, are making a shift to starters getting more action during the preseason, and I am all for it. The starting defense is what we will see first. Willie Gay and Benito Jones combined for a sack on the second play of the game, as they would force a 3-and-out. Back-to-back 3-and-outs were forced by this defense. The front seven playing incredibly well, even with some of these starters not playing. The front seven was able to get a lot of pressure, and again, force back-to-back 3-and-outs. I feel like that front seven is going to be masking quite a few of the issues we have in the secondary, but as long as they can help win games, it doesn't really matter in the long run. Four starters on the offense did not play in this one. Austin Jackson and Alec Ingold missed due to injury. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle got the rest day. And the very first play of the game was an illegal formation. On top of it being a good run from Achane, it sadly did get called back. And because of that, it's a play negated. But Achane did run well the entire first drive that he had. He only played the first drive alongside most of the starters on offense. And that first drive was pretty damn solid. 15 plays ended with no points because he got stuffed on the goal line once again. Continued to be an issue. Those short yardage situations, those goal to go situations. You do miss Alec Ingold in those moments, but at the same time, it's still rough and you need to find ways to capitalize on it. Eventually, Miami did with Ollie Gordon towards the end of the game, but still, you want your starting offense to be able to capitalize there. The offensive line, though, did play pretty damn well, had created quite a few rushing lanes and quite a few clean pockets. Really liked especially how that left side of the line looked in this one. Patrick Paul and Jonah Savayana, probably mispronounced that. Again, we're going to learn throughout the preseason. But they both led the way there. Aaron Brewer also played pretty damn well at the center position. And again, Tua, he felt like he threw the ball well. He commanded the offense pretty damn well on the 15-play drive. Sucks. It did not end in points, but it's the preseason. You're not too worried about that. You kind of just want to get as many reps as you can in certain situations against actual competition, and that's what they did in those short yardage situations. Malik Washington balled out in the receiver one role he had in this game. He made impacts across the board on the opening drive and throughout the first quarter. Again, played really damn well. And then his fellow Washington, Taj Washington, also had a really solid game. And one of the things that was showcased was the depth at receiver in this game. I feel like everyone played a pretty solid game overall. And also the depth at the front seven position also was on full display in this one. Zach Wilson came in after the opening drive, and he reminded me a lot of Mike White. Was a bit static in the pocket, a little bit too passive, and hesitated to let the ball fly. Need to see a bit more from him, but it was an all-around fine performance. He did lead 2 touchdown drives, but still, you want to see more from someone who's competing for the backup two job, especially when I feel like we had a pretty good showing from Quinn Ewers, but we will get to that in a little bit. The backup defense took a second to find their rhythm. Did show some cracks in the secondary because of it, but that was to be expected to be showcased today. Storm Duck did have quite a few tackles, as well as Derek McLennan was doing a pretty damn good job getting into the backfield. He even got home on a few times with some sacks, at least a sack. But again, pretty solid day from this front seven. Derek McLennan was one of those key pieces, a part of it in this one. D. Eskridge had some very solid returns as he's competing for the return man job on top of trying to get a spot amongst this receiver room. And to end off the first half was a pretty solid defensive showing from KJ Britt, Willie Gay, and Patrick McMorris. Patrick McMorris had a solid preseason last year, but dealt with a calf injury during points of last season. He continues to impress, and he can very easily make a roster spot, a part of this very shaky secondary. And if he can really stand out this preseason, he for sure will make the 53-man roster. Second half saw more pre-snap issues. Very second play of the second half for this offense, we had to call a timeout. Not great, but it also showcased the first few punts for this team as there's a punter battle going on in Miami. Jake Bailey was able to pin the Chargers at their own 15. Meanwhile, Ryan Stonehouse got some good hang time on a punt that was started off in his own end zone. Still a little bit of a punter battle. That's going to be one part of it. It's just how well can they punt in general, but both guys can punt pretty damn well. So the other side of it will come down to who can hold the best for Jason Sanders. And Sanders was money on the day. He did not get phased by the constantly switching holders, was perfect on extra points, and even drilled a 56-yard field goal that ended the game tied. All around, though, the special teams unit going to be one to watch the remaining 2 preseason games. Alexander Madison had a pretty solid show, and do wish the best, though, as he left this game early due to injury. Landed pretty awkwardly on his head after getting the ball inside the 5. So we'll see, wait for updates there, hope the best. But in the moments he did get to play, he played pretty well. Has a rush. He got the first rushing touchdown of the day, atop of the first of the 3, and he continued to run pretty well throughout. It sucks. The injuries suck. They happen though, and there's a reason why we drafted Ollie Gordon. Quinn Ewers, let's get to him real quick. Ewers, he really only made one mistake, and that was the fumble inside his own 5. But besides that, I feel like he probably played better than Zach Wilson in this game. He felt poised in the pocket. He felt like he was not scared in the pocket. He made his decisions. He got the ball out quick. He played pretty darn well. It was some pretty sloppy end of half stuff, but besides the end of the second half stuff, but I do feel like he played better than Zach Wilson in this game. But this is going to be a battle to watch throughout all of the preseason, I feel. The front 7 continued to dominate, even when we got down to third string guys. Grayson Murphy had a free rush on Case Keenum and took full advantage. That was a nice sack there. Eugene Asante as well had some nice tackles. Did take a pretty questionable roughness penalty, though I do understand why it was called. It was a clean form though. That was nice to see. He did hit him with his shoulder, but he hit the receiver high, and thus a penalty flag is going to fly. Again, the final minute was pretty darn sloppy, and thus it ended in a 24-24 tie in the Windy City. And I was thoroughly impressed with the energy we saw from Miami in this one, especially considering the reports that came out of the joint practice on Friday. But next up is a game against Detroit on Saturday, and a full week of joint practices with the Lions. Those are going to be very fun to keep an eye on and very interesting to watch. Let me know your thoughts down below on preseason week 1 for Miami, as well as any other teams as well. I watched all of the preseason. It was an interesting preseason week. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.